Welcome to the Her Sweet Spot Experience, dishing out tips and tricks on mindset, money, marketing, and media for your life and business, and where we talk to women about how they found their sweet spot.
Did you have your drink? We're live. Hello, Facebook. Come on in. Come on in. We are live in the room. It's a Friday evening. Cocktails and conversations. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. It's your girl, Marsha Guerriere, founder of Her Sweet Spot, powered by Women on the Rise NY, and I'm here with our special guest. I don't own the rights to this music, but we jamming it as we come on in. We're welcoming you again. It's a Friday night party with DJ Josh in the background. Woo-hoo. If you were here last week, you know we were jamming with DJ Josh in the background. Go DJ, go DJ, go DJ. Go ahead, jump this up. Go DJ, go DJ, go DJ. All right, now come on into the room. Share this broadcast with your friends. It's Friday night. It's a Haitian thing. Yadelin and Marsha in the room. Share this out with your friends, guys. I'm going to do a little householding. I'm going to share this out to a couple of groups, to a couple of people, because we want to give you some valuable information. We're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time, but we're giving you value today. Come on into the room. All right, DJ Josh.
Let's go.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast today. As I said, I am Marsha Guerriere, founder of Her Sweet Spot, powered by Women on the Rise NY, your business coach. And I am here with a special guest today, Yadelin Cherubin Aide.
Cherubin.
Cherubin, you know I should say it properly.
You know, we had the Haitian music and all. You got to say it right.
I got it. I'm correct. Cherubin. Ada.
Yep.
Ada. How many years? Hey, Lisa. Lisa is in the room. Hello. Good night. Happy Friday. I hope you have your cocktail for this Cocktails and Conversation again, Friday night edition.
Yep.
And Josh says he has his cocktail, Gatorade. Okay.
Because he's working hard back there.
Thank you, DJ Josh. We're going to get into some good stuff today. Yadelin, please share with the people a little bit about yourself who are watching the broadcast.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you for having me. Super excited. And you know, Marsh, I miss you. So having a drink, it's been a minute. So
toast to us. Bing, bing.
You got to drink. You can't toast and not drink. All righty. So my name is Yadelin Cherubin Ada, licensed realtor with Keller Williams Realty, owner of the Legacy Team and Legacy Group Properties. I've been licensed for 16 years, which is amazing because I didn't know how long I was licensed. I recently found this information out while working on my broker's license.
We've been saying 15 years now for a couple of years, maybe. So yeah, that sounds about right. Lisa says she's on the clock, so she has to have water. No drink for her.
Okay.
Natalie says, "Hey, Marsha and Yadelin." Hi, Natalie. Thank you for tuning in. Share the broadcast because you know our girl Yadelin is going to share some tips, maybe, or information about the state of real estate today during this whole pandemic and this unprecedented time that we are living today. So share the broadcast to your friends, your groups. And Yadelin, you've been a real estate agent licensed for now 16 years, we know. And you have recently been licensed in commercial?
Yes. So not licensed, but I have a certification I have a certification recently for commercial real estate and investment. So basically now I'm able to really evaluate a large portfolio, a large investment property. We're talking like commercial space, big office buildings, in addition to like multifamilies, not just 1 to 4, but 16, 20, 30 unit buildings.
Yeah.
So that's excited about that.
And you are also now heading towards getting your broker license.
I am close. Before we go back to work, before I'm allowed to be able to go out, I will have completed all of my requirements for my broker's license, and I'll just be waiting for paperwork to say that you are a broker now.
Big things, big things. 2020 was the year, right? We had big visions, big goals.
Yes.
I'm happy to know that you haven't allowed this state we're living in to stop you from accomplishing your goal of becoming a licensed broker. With the uncertainty of where we're going in the real estate industry, I'm happy to see that you are pursuing your goals and your passion to become a broker. Now,
what I can say about that is that this was like the opportunity, because my schedule prior to this was super busy. So I really didn't have the time to do what was necessary.
Yeah.
So once all of this happened, you know, I didn't change my goals. I said, okay, now what can I do? How can I take advantage of the time that I now have? So doing my continuing and all the stuff that I need to do to get my license, that was like number one priority.
So, and that's a good tip. So that is a tip that we can share with people, that now is a perfect time because you are sort of locked in and sheltered in, as we call it here in New York. Now is the perfect time, especially for you. You do have, I hear the little one in the background.
Yeah, so, hold on one second. Let me tell him. Hey, Lucas, sweetie, come here. Come here for a second.
Josh is coming.
I need to introduce you to my Y, one of my Ys.
Yes, let's see.
So this is Luke. I'm
Luke.
on a call, so I'm going to need you to stop the humming and the music. Okay, do you want to take your computer upstairs? Okay, so I'm going to need some quiet. Thank you so much.
It was nice background.
I wasn't sure if you could hear it, and I was like just wanting to tell them to stop, but I was like, okay, if she's not saying anything.
You know what? I have embraced so much, because having my own personal assistant here and DJ in the house on my Friday night jams, it so much has changed. I have forever done lives here at home. I record my podcast here at home. I do most of my coaching here, but he's never usually here, right? And so now he's here in the midst of everything. And at first I was so scared as a mom.
Embrace it.
I was so afraid that people would say, oh my God, it's unprofessional because her kid is out there and blah, 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 blah. And that's because that's how I thought beforehand. And now
that's your negative mindset automatically just kicking in.
Yep. And I'm the mindset, money, marketing, media queen. But when it comes to my own advice for myself, sometimes it's different. You think, well, I'm talking about my personal life, not my business. So I can, you see, now I have to open up a bottle.
All right. So I'll take a sip while you're opening up the bottle.
I'll take a sip too. So now I find myself embracing it, adding him on to whatever it is and I turn around and I find out they're watching. So he's recording his own videos on the side. And then I find later on the iPad a video of him describing something to people as if he is a coach. So,
you know, and that's a blessing. That's a blessing, because for me, when I said this is one of my whys. Yeah. It's important for our kids to know what we do.
Yeah.
It's important for them to know part of the process. So my kids know a lot about real estate, more than the average kid, because it's always been important for me to have them involved. And now they're really involved because now they're seeing how mom is shifting their business due to the pandemic. So it's a blessing. Take it. And you know what? It is what it is. And we have to make the best with our situation that we're in. There's nothing else that we can do. But they're seeing me now on my Zoom calls, and they're on their own Zoom calls for school.
Oh my God. Josh is, he has seen Zoom before because of my work. And so it's so embarrassing because he gets on his class calls and he's telling people, yeah, you're still on mute. Go and click the button, get off of mute. And he's like, your screen's froze. like, God, what are they thinking I'm teaching this kid? Other than his ABCs. But yeah, Alan, I want to get into the industry of real estate.
Yes.
It is, as most people watching and most people listening, they're working from home now, right? Companies have diverted, and I'm glad to share and use your experience as a corporate or commercial realtor to have this discussion, because many companies now, it's been 2 months since we've been working from home, and they've been practicing this whole distancing environment. And many companies now are coming out and saying, hey, we are rethinking this need to spend so much in real estate. Years ago, we started the transition and converting into open space platforms, open sharing desk type. And now everything is going back to the good old 80s and 90s where I grew up. I won't say we, so I don't call you out. What do you think about, what's your opinion in general about the state of commercial real estate, especially in our town of Manhattan?
So I've been on a lot of mastermind calls. One of the things that I didn't mention in the beginning is I'm also part of the Agent Leadership Council for my company. Keller Williams is a giant company. We're all over. So what that means is that I am part of the leadership for my office. There's 4 of us, I think five leaders in the company. And so we're part of a bunch of mastermind calls where we're talking to people from different regions. We're talking to people about the current situation of real estate and what we need to do. And commercial real estate is one of the things that we've discussed. Now, people are truly rethinking whether or not they need as much space.
Right.
So it's not like people don't need the space, but they may not need all of that square footage that they originally thought, because there's so much happening with us still being able to conduct business from home.
Right.
So that's amazing. So there is talk that the commercial real estate will take some kind of a hit,
right,
bigger than the residential part of real estate.
Right. And that's from the investor's standpoint, right? It's not from, and I'll share with everyone now, I think I started talking about it here and there, but my goal for 2020 for Her Sweet Spot is to open up our first agency, right? And to open up our first brick and mortar shop, which you were on my team to help me work on looking for locations and really putting together my business plan for it prior to this year to understand how much space we need. Now, from my standpoint as a potential renter, there's a difference between me as the renter, right? And then the investors and real estate owners of these huge buildings and $1 million spaces that they're renting out. There's a huge difference, right?
There is a big difference. So in my mind, what's going to happen is that these investors, these owners of giant spaces will have to really think about how to repurpose the space, because employers are not going to need so much. So what can we do? What can we do with the additional space that we have? How can we convert it so that we're still making money? So you have to be creative. The same way that we're creative in this situation. Yeah. Like you said, we've been home for 2 months. So they have to figure out a way to kind of repurpose the additional space that's not going to be rented in the future.
Right. In the work that we are doing or have done, my goal initially was to have the agency opened, but incorporate a co-working space, right? And have it opened up to dozens of people coming into working in Her Sweet Spot co-working facility. And now I've scaled back into my vision to now make it more of a simple learning lab and less of something that, people would be occupying constantly, right? So with that, what is your opinion? Should people that were thinking of renting and going into a brick and mortar, should we still consider it?
I think you should, because, even though I'm still able to kind of meet with my clients and do what I'm doing via Zoom and some of these platforms, it's still really nice to have a space where you can meet people face to face and you can, conduct your business. So I think it's still necessary, but maybe instead of having a full-time office, to have a shared space that might be a thing. So your idea and what your plan is still probably going to be relevant, because people are going to say, I don't need to spend so-and-so, this amount of dollars having this one space, but I can go to this co-working space and have somewhere when I do have to meet a client face-to-face.
Right.
And if I don't, then I don't need to be there.
Right.
And the cost will be significantly less than having, in an A-class building or, a big, large space. So.
Right. My space will be A-class, first of all.
But it's going to be shared. It's going to be shared, though.
My space is still going to be A-class. Right now, let's move over and pivot over and talk a little bit about individual homes. Hey, Marjorie, thanks for tuning in. Guys, if you have any questions for our licensed realtor about any real estate questions, is it the right time? Is it not the right time? If you want to talk about your situation, please speak and put your questions in and ask us. And the licensed 16-year veteran that we have on the line now. So pivoting. Soon to be broker. Boop, boop. So let's pivot over to the individual, the investor that so many people got into real estate as an investment option, but we're buying the smaller type properties. And we're thinking even this year, a lot of people's goals were to buy their first investment property. What is the state of selling versus buying just on the individual level?
So I will say right now, like initially when we were told as realtors that we were not allowed to show, I was still busy because I had a lot of clients that I was working with, and we were trying to figure out how to navigate this.
Right.
Now, I will tell you this, that I'm not wearing this shirt just for you. I have been on calls for consultations with buyers and sellers because there are people that still need to move. And so it is not as busy as it was before coronavirus, but there's still a lot of movement. Right. Now, what's happening? There's a lot of things happening right now. There's a lot of people that are filing for unemployment. So that's going to eliminate some buyers out there, which is great. It's great for people who are making offers on properties that were getting outbid on properties. Okay. The other thing.
So because people are pulling out, people with, are you saying values are dropping? Hey, boo. Mwah. Bye, boo.
He's going to work.
Thank you to your husband. Let's just pause on that. He is leaving home to go to his job as a first responder, firefighter, first responder responding to calls out here. Where is he, in Queens, New York? Or
in New York City.
He's in New York City. So thank you to your husband and to you for holding it down.
All right, we got to do what we got to do.
Right.
But to your question, prices are not really plummeting. So I have some buyers, and people think that because of what's happening in the market that they can get giant discounts.
Okay. No. So I was wrong, because I was about to everybody.
You can get slight discounts. So I will give you an example. I have a buyer, some clients that I was working with pre-corona, and we made offers on properties where they were outbid on those properties. So now corona happens, we're not allowed to show properties, we're home in quarantine, and I get a call from the agent, one of the properties we made an offer on, saying, hey, listen, the buyer who we accepted the offer lost their job. They can't. Are your clients still interested? Now I'm like, yeah, I reached out to my clients. They are still interested. They try to get us up because apparently the people that made the offer before was higher. I don't know how much higher, but they said it was higher. So for me as a buyer's agent,
right,
I negotiated. I said, no, my buyers can't go up. However, my buyers have great jobs. This is what they do. This is how much they're putting down. These are really solid buyers, and they're able to close as soon as possible.
Right.
So because of that, my buyers were able to get this house that initially they were not going to be getting. So yes, they got a slight discount. Let's say if it was $10,000, that's great. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at a mortgage, $10,000 in a mortgage payment is really not a lot of money. But it's still, they felt good about it. They got the house that they wanted. So that's the kind of stuff that's happening right now.
Lisa says she knows the property home values are declining in her area, and she asks some people, or she says some people are able to buy, so a buyer can benefit now. So is it now a buyer's market?
Which area is Lisa in? Does she mind sharing?
She's in Queens. That's my girl, Lisa, the Avon queen, and she sells and makes the nicest accessory clothing, t-shirts. She's a graphics design branding expert. Lisa, she's in Queens.
Okay, so Lisa's in Queens. Lisa, the prices in Queens are not going down that much. You're going to get a slight discount. Now, what's happening now? You're getting that slight discount, but remember,
East Elmhurst. She's in East Elmhurst.
You've seen in the news that the banks changed their lending requirements.
No. Tell me about that. I didn't see.
Yeah. So recently, the banks changed their lending requirements, requiring people to have higher credit scores and to put more money down. So what does that do for those buyers that had the 620 credit scores? You can get before Corona, you could get a property with 580 credit score. Now you can't.
No.
And also they want you to put more money down. So those buyers, so it's not a buyer's market right now because now there's not as many buyers out here
that qualify for the loan.
Qualifies. Yeah, there's not a lot of buyers out here because banks are changing their requirements.
So now what about the things such as
FHA?
Those type of government supplemented loans, are they? Lisa says, say what? sorry, Lisa. And I added the extra flair to it. But what are the programs at risk because the government is so heavily involved and all our furloughs are coming in and whatever else assistance they're putting out for small business. Now, do you foresee that it's going to impact loans through the government?
So I don't think it's going to impact. The government will still be issuing loans. However, they'll just be stricter about, because, you have to understand, if you're loaning out your money, you want to have an assurance that you're going to get that money back. So hold on one second. Sorry.
Okay, girl.
My office is adjacent to a bathroom. Okay. All right. So so if you're loaning out money, you're going to want to make sure that you can get that money back. So what's going to happen is that the government is going to require that, they're going to change the requirements, like, make sure that the credit scores are good. They're going to re-verify your employment because a lot of people are losing jobs. You're getting the furloughs and things like that. So they want to make sure that things are in good standing. Some of the things that may change are some of the first-time home buyer grants. Mm-hmm. Those things are usually set yearly, and there's like a certain amount of money that they give you for funding. So those fundings may be done where they're not going to replenish it until maybe things are over, things like that. A lot of programs like NACA and things like that, they're still around, and they will continue to be around. However, it's just going to be a little harder to get them for now. But I think that soon, things will pick up again, and I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
So, because you're saying it's not a buyer's market, don't mute. We can hear the dog. Come on, let the dog speak.
You want to hear Freya? Freya, can you give me a chance, Freya? Okay.
Freya. So
it's not a buyer's market yet. Now, let's say if the governor says that, realtors are still not allowed to show until like the end of summer.
You think so?
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that I'm going to be out showing in the next few weeks.
Now, that hasn't stopped you from virtually showing. So share with people how you've been maneuvering this industry, because deals are still being made. Business is still happening.
Yes. So we're virtually showing properties. And what that means is that I can either go to a property and do a recording and a walkthrough. I actually just ordered one of those stabilizers because I'm kind of shaky with my camera. But I ordered a stabilizer so when I'm walking through, I've done Zoom videos where they're actually on the call with, the whole family, the other agent, whoever, everybody who's interested in this property. And I'm doing a walkthrough of the property. And while I'm doing this walkthrough, they're asking me questions that I can answer.
Okay.
And so that's in lieu of them being able to come in themselves, I'm walking through. So I'm starting from the beginning and I'm hitting every area of the house.
Hey,
and that's part of it.
Glamour Rocks. That is Roxy. And Roxy is a licensed realtor in New Jersey. So thank you.
What's up, Roxy? We need to connect.
I need to connect. Two ladies, and Roxy just shows the most gorgeous homes in New Jersey. Ooh, when you look at her.
Roxy, follow me on Instagram so we can follow each other at Yadlyn, YADLYND.
The home, definitely. Your page, Roxy, is so beautiful. You share before and after pictures that I swoon over, and the homes that you're selling are always top notch. So thank you for joining. If you have any comments or questions, anything you want to add to the conversation, please let me know. I'll let you know when. I'll let you know when we're gonna bring the music back. My DJ wants to know when we're bringing the music back towards the end, Josh. So, what was I talking about? Where were we?
So we talked about it not being a buyer's market. We talked about the changes in the requirements from the banks. And what else?
So
we talked about commercial real estate.
Entering the market space now.
Because I'm sorry. We were talking about the virtual showings.
Oh, yes.
So another thing that I would like to add is that I'm virtually meeting with potential sellers. So imagine me being on this call with a Zoom with someone who's thinking about selling their house. And remember, like, we're not going back to school. I don't know if you guys heard that, but school is done.
Girl, here we go.
School is done, so we're not going back to school this year for New York State. Okay.
I look forward to my Friday night cocktails live shows because, oh Lord, we're not going back to school.
No school. So there are people who wanted to. Usually, the summer market, the spring and summer market is like the busiest.
Right.
So there are people who have their plans that they may even be moving out of state. They want to move to a different school district.
Right.
So you have to time it. You want to time it so that you're not inconveniencing your kids. You can be registered in September. Excuse me. So I've been virtually meeting with sellers. So imagine me being on a Zoom call with the seller and the seller is walking through their home.
Right.
Okay. So I don't have to go to their home now. They're walking through. I can get to see it. I've already done my market analysis via MLS and all the other platforms that I used. So I already have a kind of idea of what's happening in the area, but now it's time for me to see the actual house,
right,
and give them ideas of what we need to do when we put it on the market.
So that's a great segue to Lisa's question. And she said, I didn't know if it applies to this call. Everything applies to this call, whether it's real estate, whether it's business coaching, whether it's mommyhood. So we're here for you.
Yes.
If we don't know, we'll pass it on to someone else. But she says, is it recommended to do home upgrades before selling?
So it depends. You definitely have to speak to your realtor. Hopefully it's me. And I basically tell you if it's worth it to do certain things. I'll let you know, okay, you know what, based on this market, you should probably do this, but you don't need to do the whole kitchen. And I'll give you, a good realtor will give you recommendations on what's necessary to put your house in the market.
Right. The number one thing every realtor should tell you is to declutter. I know that.
Yes, that's number one.
Number one.
That's
right?
Yeah. Declutter.
I could talk design all day long, right? So declutter. But in terms of home repair, broken things, yes, fix, but not upgrading bathrooms or kitchen.
So
people
it depends.
Want to do it themselves, right?
Yeah. So it depends on the house, and it depends on what your return is going to be. So like if I'm walking through a house and there are missing door handles or chipping paint, things like that, I would say, you know what, it's not going to cost a lot of money. You can do it. Get those things done. Now, let's say this is a house, depending on the area that it's in, if it's worth it to do the kitchen where you're going to get top dollar, I will tell you. So it's really based on the actual property and the area.
Oh my God. Lisa says, yeah, she knows someone who sold their home. They bought a new roof before, they upgraded the home, and it turned around and the buyers tore everything down. And that's a good example, Lisa, to Yadlyn's point. A good realtor would know, because in my opinion, I know certain neighborhoods where
Yes.
people are coming in to do tear downs.
Yes.
Who the clientele is coming into those neighborhoods. There's certain buildings. My friend sold a building in Brooklyn, and it was like cracks in the floor type of, everything needed to be done, heating system, everything. But guess what? She still got 1 point something million for it. And luckily for them, it was a legacy home, so they didn't lose, but she still got over $1 million. And guess what? That neighborhood we knew was a tear down neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really need to consult with your realtor, because they'll let you know what's happening in the area, and then they'll give you advice for your home. And if it's not worth it, why spend the money if you're not going to get it back? And usually when you spend money, you're supposed to get more money back from it. So like, if it's not worth it, we'll definitely let you know.
And Miss Roxy says, upgrade if the room is dated, but make sure you can recoup that money. Comps come into play at that point, and what, how upgraded the other areas are. But I also think, because once upon a time in my other life, I was a realtor.
I'm still trying to get you there, girl. I'm still trying to get you there. Legacy team needs you. We want you.
I used to be obsessed with real estate and doing design, and so I watched and read. I got books upstairs. It's really ridiculous. But Roxy also said that's what's happening in Newark. I'm sure Newark is one of those areas where it's been happening for years, Roxy. When I was out there in New Jersey working with you guys, where gentrification is real, like you said, and that has caused people to come in and make significant changes to what we believe were economically challenged neighborhoods. And we see that where? Williamsburg, Brooklyn, the markets. And we know in those neighborhoods, it has been complete tear downs in the past few years, right? You're still on mute, Yad.
I was switching my screens. Yes, certain areas, there are still tear downs. So like I said, it's really important for some people think that they can do it themselves. And the problem with that is that if you don't really know the market and really don't know the value of your home, you could lose out. So there are people who say, I don't need a realtor. I could do it myself. I watch AGTV, I can Google it. I can do it. If you don't have someone that's strategic, that's great with marketing, that knows what they're talking about, that knows the market, you can lose a lot of money. Yes.
And has your best interest.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Some people just, set it and forget it, and they don't really truly have your best interest in mind.
Exactly.
And so with that, and talking about the neighborhoods and the homes that are being teared down, are you seeing that they're being purchased, torn down by investors or people that are looking to build better homes in neighborhoods where they want to stay?
Well, the tear downs are usually done by investors, or like, if you have a lot of money and you have those contacts, because typically for you to do a tear down, you have to have a big team in place. Architect, people at the Department of Buildings, contractors. So typically tear downs are happening with investors that know the area, that knows what's happening. And they say, you know what, if I pay this, for this house or this lot, because they look at it as a lot, I can build this. So in Brooklyn and Queens, they're building these condos, these little tiny little lots.
Yeah.
They're building like 6 condos and selling each condo for like a ridiculous amount of money. So you have to know the market. And so a lot of the tear downs are being done by investors that have these big teams in place.
Here's a good question that Lisa poses, and I'm going to put this out to you, and Roxy, if you could chime in too in the comments. Lisa says, but how do you really know if the realtor has your interest in mind? And I could tell you I'm going to tell you one thing, and then I'm going to let Yad give a couple of suggestions and questions on interviewing realtors. But from out of the gate, you should use a realtor through a referral, right? To me, there's no better way to know if how the person behaves, how their integrity, how they did past performance, than to know someone who could help you. Yadeline?
Yes, definitely. And when you say past performance, if you're an active realtor, you have reviews. So you can Google. If you Google my name, you'll see reviews. Just Google Yadeline.
Google my name.
Google me, Yadeline. And so
drop the mic on that one. Boop.
So, getting a realtor and checking reviews and references. Like if you were, if you were looking to get an apartment, your landlord is going to check references to make sure that you're a good tenant.
Yeah.
So the same thing for your realtor. You can check references. You can look at the reviews and see what kind of person they are. Typically, the reviews will be consistent. It will say, she absolutely had my best interest. She was so responsive. She looked out for me. She negotiated a deal, and she ended up, we ended up buying a house for less than we were approved for, things like that. And that's when that agent is not just looking at the top, that how much money they're making, but they're looking out for the interests of their clients.
Right.
So, yeah.
And what are some of the things that people should ask a realtor? And hopefully you are interviewing your realtor, right? Are there some questions that they can, Roxy says, is there a call-in? Yeah, there's a call-in. I'm going to send you a link. Hold on, Roxy.
Roxy, jump it on. I get to meet Roxy. Do I know Roxy? I think I do. No? Have I met her?
I don't
know. I'm
going
to meet her now.
Roxy, yeah. you hold on tight. I'm going to invite you into the broadcast because we're going to have a roundtable discussion right now.
I'm telling you, I love these things. I've been doing it for 7 weeks now. And you learn so much. And you bond and connect with people. So that's great.
It's definitely my passion and joy to bring these types of broadcasts and people together. All right, Roxy, check your inbox. Oh, she says we are on IG. Are we really on IG? How does that work? Are you on IG right now watching me, Roxy? Because that's some new stuff. Give me my phone, please. Bring me my phone. I already know there is a possibility they tear down houses, Lisa says. So yeah, especially in Queens, it's definitely going to be on the rise where people are buying homes to tear them down, bring them up. Condos are so in mode, right, these days.
Mm-hmm.
That, I'm trying to figure out, is Roxy saying we are on Instagram?
Your speaker's on.
Let me see.
Roxanne.
I'm getting a bunch of messages too. I don't know. Maybe I am.
On IG?
Let me just see.
Let's see. There's going to be some new stuff. Well, I don't see that I'm on IG. But so your house. So do you recommend new business owners rent space? So we were talking earlier about my goal for this year for me to rent space. And I really think it's really dependent upon the business type, right? Yadeline.
I'm sorry, I'm still looking on IG.
I know.
Yes, it depends on the business type. It depends on how often you're actually using that space. So let's say if you are in a type of business where you have conference rooms and you're meeting large groups of people, it's important for you to have some kind of a space. Now, again, it doesn't have to be a full-time space. If you did a shared space, that shared space will have a conference room that you can book.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of really think about your budget, think about your business and how much you actually need that space. I'm a realtor, so most of my business is out in the field. So I really don't need an office space. A shared space would be ideal for someone like me because occasionally I will be meeting with clients face to face. Often, if someone is looking to sell their home, hey, Roxy, if someone's looking to sell their home, I'm in that person's home.
Roxy,
Okay.
This is the beauty of live.
What's up, Roxy?
Streaming. Lisa, she has a corner house with a yard.
Hey, guys.
Can you hear me? We can hear you. We can absolutely hear you, Roxy. Welcome, Roxy.
Hey, guys.
Roxy.
Hi.
Let
Hi,
me see
baby.
which view I like the best here. That one.
Oh, my God.
Roxanne.
Okay.
How are you, my
All right. I
friend?
just wanted to comment. Huh?
I said, how are you, my friend?
I wanted to comment on how do you know you have the right realtor. The process that I have in place when I first meet someone, I bring them into the office. I show them the steps that I use. I show them the MLS. I show them how I'm searching for homes. I show them how I set up alerts. I also advise them to get trained. Go on YouTube, go on all these different sites, learn the terminology. And I also let them know that they're not renting a place, they're purchasing something. So if they find something, make sure it fits all their criteria. Okay, I also show them options. For example, I had one buyer, I need 5 bedrooms. I was like, no, you don't. No.
He
showed
wants
him
5
how
bedrooms.
Yeah, he
exactly. But everybody have their dream, you know. But a real realtor will show them, you know, how to make it work. Get a basement, add 2 bedrooms to that basement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also tell them, if you're looking for a house, drive by at night, drive by in the daytime, knock on the neighbors' doors, because they're going to be your neighbors. It's not a rental. After 12 months, you can't get up and leave. If you can't get along with your neighbors and the neighborhood is not what you think it is because the house is pretty, you're going to have an issue. So that's what I do. Like I said, there's a lot of realtors out there. They're just for the dollars, because as a realtor, we work as on commission based. You know, so like I said, that buyer came to me. They would say, I want a 5-bedroom house and I'm approved for $1 million. Well, guess what? I'm finding you that $1 million house. But a real realtor that has the care and concern of their buyer will sit down and go through the pros and the cons. Even though you're approved for $1 million, that does not mean you need to sit in $1 million house.
Right.
Yeah, definitely what Roxy is saying.
Also
basically,
take into consideration schools. Go ahead, hon.
Roxy, basically, what Roxy is saying is that a good realtor is going to have what they call a consultation. So, you know, you have your buyer's consultation, you have your seller's consultation, and you basically go through the process with them and advise them as how, you know, like going through the MLS and showing them how you search for properties and also showing them what the market is like. So if you say, I'm looking in Elmhurst and this is my budget, as realtors, like good realtors, we're going to go on MLS and show them, okay, this is what properties are going for in East Elmhurst. This is what the days on the market, how many days that property sat on the market. And you show them the stats and you show them the numbers. If you show people numbers, they understand and they see, like, you're not just coming up with them. These are the numbers that are being reported.
Right.
So you have a consultation. And also, I don't know if you noticed when I say our clients, these are people that have established relationships with us. You know, they're signed to us, we're signed to each other, we have a relationships, and these are our clients. Now we have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients to look out for their best interests.
Right.
Now you have agents that you can call them on Zillow and say, hey, I like this property. They'll meet you at the property, but they never have a conversation. They just show you their property. Those realtors are working for the seller. So they're not going to be looking out for your best interest. If you don't have a sit down conversation, if you're not signing documents to say that this person, you know, I'm your buyer's agent, then if I'm not your buyer's agent, then that agent is a seller's agent. As a buyer, you want a buyer's agent that's going to look out for your interest.
What do you do when your realtor turns out to be your buyer and your seller agent?
So basically that happens. So sometimes when I have listings, I'm heavy on listings. So occasionally when I have a listing and so I'm representing the seller hired me to sell their house. And I'll have a buyer that comes in and say, hey, I'm interested, but I don't have an agent. So basically I try my best. First of all, I explain to them what it means if they don't have an agent. So I really kind of give them the option to, if they decided to get an agent, they could. But I explain to them how it works. And I basically work and try to get a meeting of the minds between the two parties. Sometimes I have conference calls with the sellers and the buyers so they can kind of discuss their concerns. And I try to make it as neutral as possible. But I let them know, hey, this is the bottom line. I always remain a seller's agent, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Lisa has another comment. She says she got it. She said, but sometimes folks don't think you're legit if you don't have an actual space as an entrepreneur. And again, I think, Lisa, it depends on what you're selling. Right now, for apparel, no one needs to have a brick and mortar store for apparel, when you're selling apparel. So I think it totally depends on what you're selling. And if in my opinion, as the business coach, I say if a person questions you to that degree, they're not the right customer for you. So if you have a situation where they're thinking you're not legit because you don't have a brick and mortar, but you have a dedicated workspace that you.
But Marsha, That's where a shared workspace will work for someone. If that
Right.
person,
And that's
if
what the
she
whole
thinks,
her
yeah,
sweet spot is all
if
about.
she thinks that that's going to help increase her business, a shared workspace will be ideal for her because you're not committing to a large monthly payment. And you know that if you do need to meet a client in a space, that you have a dedicated space, you know, but it's just shared, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't, as a realtor, I really don't need an office because I'm mostly in the field, but I
Yeah.
opt to have a space because occasionally I want to bring people in. Occasionally I have masterminds. Occasionally I have certain trainings and things like that. So for me, it's an option. But honestly, as a realtor, I'd really, because I'm out.
Yeah.
Roxanne, you agree? You're out in the street. You're showing homes all day.
Yep. And also, I mean, even in the situation we're in right now, we're not allowed to go into the office unless we really have to. We're working from home. We have our fax machine at home, printer, everything is set up at home. Everything is online, everything is virtual. So we really don't need an office space. But I mean, it is there sometimes, you know, if you want to meet someone for the first time and you're unsure of a situation or of a person, we meet them in the office, you know, or of course, closing time, you meet them in the office. But other than that, we really don't need to have an office.
Yeah. So it depends on your business and depends on what you want your image to be.
Mhm.
You know, though you have to kind of decide what you want your business to look like.
Right. And that's why I think the commercial space and converting it and even my goal to open up my first agency and co-working space is still going to be something probably more so necessary, especially my goal was to help small businesses like yourself, Lisa, have a dedicated business address where you can actually go in and actually meet with clients if you had to. So
yeah, but you got to wait until after dinner and then you'll get that.
you can look into. And it's, you know, this is the real deal. Roxy, this is the real deal, right?
Huh? Sorry, I have my grandson come in. Sorry.
Let's can I see that cutie patootie live?
Hold on. Marquis, come here, baby. Hurry. Somebody wants to see you. Say hi.
Hi,
cutie.
How are you?
Okay, bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Look, Josh came and found out who's his.
Hey, Josh.
All right, buddy, go back to the.
Okay. I didn't know this part.
The opportunity for you to go into seek a co-working space, and even, you know, I would love for you to be one of my first founding members when I do open up Her Sweet Spot. But grab a bunch of friends, you know, grab a few people where you could get together and open up a storefront and try different things you could do to break up the space or create a space for all like similar businesses to get together.
And Marsha, honestly, I think that big corporations will maybe end up taking, let's say, pay for people to have co-working space in lieu of having giant buildings and offices.
And in the outskirts of the main city.
Yeah,
so
that'll be part of their business, is to say, you know what, we'll pay up to this amount for you to have your co-working space if it's necessary for your business.
Right.
The numbers have to add up.
Yeah.
I agree. So Roxanne, you are Yadlin's a licensed realtor in New York, Brooklyn, Queens. I'm not sure. Long Island, definitely Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. I've seen her sell property everywhere. I know you are a licensed realtor in New Jersey.
And Pennsylvania. Correct. Yeah. I work for Wyckoff Realtors, New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I've been licensed in New Jersey for 11 years and Pennsylvania for a couple of months now. Because of where I'm located, which is on Central, I'm on the borderline of Pennsylvania. It made sense to become licensed in PA, even though most of my businesses
She went up and left us in the big city and went to the boonies. We said, Roxanne, and moved to the mountains.
I've been out here now for 17 years. Stop it, Marcia.
What? 17 years?
Each other for
Warren County.
She's making it seem like you just left. She's like, you just left last year.
But let me tell you something. When I first moved out here and you said Warren County, oh my God, you're in the boonies. Trust me, those New Yorkers are out here now. They're getting pushed out. They can't afford New York prices. They're getting pushed out. Like I said, gentrification is real. Newark, they're getting pushed out. They're coming all the way out here, Warren County, crossing over, going into Eastern Pennsylvania, Lehigh Valley, and it's driving the prices up also. But they're coming out.
A good question. And I'm going to start with you, and then I'll go to Yadelin about it. In terms of how do you work with people who are who come to you because you're local and they know you, they trust you, but they want to transition out of your area? What do you do? Partner with people like you too?
Well, that's why we connected.
Roxanne on this call. Get her on this call.
We connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I had and you don't remember, but I have family in New York. I mean, I grew up in New York, and I had a niece that's in Long Island. She was looking for a rental property, and you gave me her information, and that's how we connected. But you don't remember me. That's okay.
Yes, exactly. That is true. I do remember. I'm
getting up there in age, Roxanne, so please forgive me. Okay.
Oh, you're not older than I am.
Listen,
trust me.
My birthday's this month, just so you know. So we're gonna do another call just for my birthday.
If I can remember, you'll remember. I'm much older than you are. Trust me on that one. But no, I connect. But I always tell people, connect with like-minded individuals, people who are in the same business. You feed off of them. You get a lot of feedback. You get a lot of information. The industry is changing on a daily basis. We know that. I mean, especially with this coronavirus, every day it's changing. And I have you in Long Island. I have another gentleman I speak to that's in New York. Oh, matter of fact, you did the video with him, Don Bailey. You did the TikTok video with him.
Who?
She's not here.
Oh,
yeah, I did. Oh my goodness, yes. I did.
Yep, okay. I connect with Don. I have another friend that's in North Carolina. Matter of fact, she just became a broker. I have a girlfriend who is an underwriter for HUD. Okay. I have another person that's in Chicago. I connect with a lot of people throughout the country. I need to know what's going on, you know, because like I said, the industry is changing, and I need to know about these grants and everything. I need to know. You can't be what's the word I'm trying to find? You can't be in this
silo
business
in your own little corner, in your own little silo.
You can't. You have to. In order for me to service the buyer and the seller, I need to know what I am talking about. Mm-hmm. And there are times I don't know everything, and I tell them I don't know everything, but let me find out, because I know there's a connection. You know, people are around that knows everything. There's someone that works with foreclosures only. There's someone that works with this only and that. You know. So you got to have your connection. You got to have your team. Yeah. You know, you got to have your team. You just can't sit in an office and say, oh, I'm going on the MLS. I'm going to find you a house. And you can't do that. I have over 1,000 emails in my inbox. And it's not necessarily all clients, but it's industry stuff also. You know, we read so much. It's like
I will say
brain
this.
freeze.
Yeah, definitely. What she said in the beginning is like-minded people. I connect, and thanks to Marcia, I do a lot of networking events. I meet a lot of people, and you want to make sure that the agents that you meet and the people that you work with have the same mindset, have the same work ethic as you. Because if you're going to make a referral, you want to make sure that your clients and your friends and the people that you're referring the business to will be treated the way that you would treat them.
Right.
So you definitely have to make sure that you're working with like-minded people. Now, I happen to be fortunate that I work with Keller Williams. Keller Williams is giant. We're trying. We do a lot of this is everything that's happening right now. We've done so much training, and they've provided so much support. Yeah, that is amazing. Roxanne, if you want a couple of links, just free training, I'll let you know. I'll send you.
We have ours. Trust me. We have the KV Core. KV Core. It's every day. It's
so. A lot of my
Yeah.
business is a lot of relocations. I have clients that are leaving New York, that are retiring. My husband's a New York City firefighter. So a lot of the firefighters, police officers, when they're ready to retire, they're not staying in New York. They're going to North Carolina. They're going to Georgia.
Yeah.
Recently, a lot of people are going to Vegas. Okay,
South
Arizona,
Carolina is booming.
Texas, the
South
Carolinas.
Carolina.
So what I've done
Yeah.
is that I've made connections with people that I trust in all over. I have connections in Hawaii. My husband wants to move to Hawaii, by the way. Marsha, we may be having a place in Maui that you can visit. Okay, because he's stalking me. He's like, yeah, we need to buy a place in Maui. It's so far. I'm like, but anyway, okay. So let's stay on topic.
So I have a question for you ladies. It came up because of something Roxy said. Lisa says her bae wants Vegas. I hear it's the highest.
Vegas is a lot of people are moving to Vegas. I'm telling you.
Tax. Was it no sales tax?
Yeah. Super affordable.
And then you get these amazing homes with pools
tax
and it's beautiful, and a tax incentive is just ridiculous.
So listen, if someone had or is thinking of investment, real estate investment, do you suggest that they become a licensed realtor? Because Roxy said something about the education part.
Okay. You don't have to be
an investor.
Go ahead, honey. Sorry.
Yeah, I will say this. When I got my license 16 years ago, I think I was so young, and I did it because I was looking to buy investment properties. And I was like, you know what? Let me just get my license. But you don't need to be licensed to be an investor. A lot of these investors out here are not. There's so many resources now that you don't need to be a licensed realtor. You just have to have the right team in place. And that's just so important. So to be an investor, you have to have your contractor. You have to have your attorneys. You have to have your architect. You have to have your realtor, someone that's looking for properties for you. And as long as you have your team in place, that's all that's necessary. You don't have to.
But to understand the language, because I think a lot of people go into it and they get the license because they think, I'm not going to get beat. I don't want, I want to be the one to make my own commission or whatever.
In investing in real estate, you don't need to learn the language. You need to know the numbers. That's important. You need to know if the numbers work for you. Okay?
We'll take a sip on that one. We all having cocktails and conversation.
Roxanne, where's yours?
Numbers.
All right, that'll do. But the numbers in any investment, you need to make sure that your numbers work.
Well, Lisa said she knows her numbers because her husband or her bae says they won't tax his pension, and it's a good and clean weather out in Vegas. That's why they're thinking of it.
I'm telling you, Vegas. I have a number of connections. If you're moving out to Vegas, call me, Lisa. Let me know because I have people in Vegas. We were in Vegas twice last year.
One was for me.
Here's my question to Lisa: has she ever visited Vegas in the summertime?
Child, we know not to go there in the summertime, so no, we haven't visited because we know not to go.
Okay, so before you think of picking everything up and going permanently, go in the seasons and see if it's something that you can really do.
New York has the opposite effect, right? Our winters used to be harsh. And Lisa says, yes, she's been there in the summertime. And I do recall seeing Lisa's timeline with a few Vegas trips too. And y'all just be going out there. I love it.
But that's how you see where you can invest.
Yeah.
All the traveling that I'm doing is not just for, first of all, our country is big. There's a lot out there. But I also want to know, where's the place to invest? Where can I buy properties? Where would I, where would I move to? When my husband retires, he actually has 2 years left on the job. Geez. We're not going anywhere in 2 years. But when we decide our kids are old enough, are we going to stay in New York? Are we going to go somewhere else? You have to have an idea of the area that you're moving to if you're going to relocate somewhere. So all of the traveling that we've done is really to get an idea of the landscape and how it is. Different seasons, things like that.
Roxanne's a travel expert. She's a travel expert. She put me on to
I do. Matter of fact, I'm not even supposed to be here right now, but that's a different story.
Where are you supposed to be, Roxanne?
I'm supposed to be in Guyana right now, getting ready for Carnival.
Uh-oh.
Roni gave you a whole new agenda. Blame it on
Oh, my God. But that's what I do. I'm an empty nester. My 2 boys are gone. I have the baby. But, but I have it at every 4 months. I'm on a plane. I'm going somewhere. At every place that I go, real estate is on the mind. I need to know what's going on. I was in.
You connect with people, Roxanne. When you travel, do you connect with agents? When you travel, do you connect with agents?
God.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Wycott is all over. You know, Wycott is a big company, so I connect with them, and not only that, you know us. We always have our business card. We always have our hat on. You know, and I go to the new construction. So right now, Charleston, South Carolina, booming. And they're saying that a lot of New Yorkers are coming down there and they're taking up all the properties. Because the thing about the South is that you don't have just the house, you have the land to go with it.
Well, I heard they call Charleston New York, Little New York, because there's so many New Yorkers
The New Yorkers are down there. They're down there and they're buying them up for dirt cheap. You know, they're building like crazy. Volvo, BMW, and some Boeing. Massive constructions going on down there. They have warehouses all over. The jobs are there. And the way how Charleston is set up, you're only a couple of hours away from Atlanta, a couple of hours from here. It's positioned perfect, you know. So Charleston is the big boom right now, the South. Charleston is going on. So, but that's what I do. When I travel, you know, overseas. I go to Thailand the last time, and I love Thailand. I would love to buy a piece of property there, get a condo or something like that.
I saw a video with the giant snake in Thailand, and I was just like, I don't know.
The giant
that snake was giant.
No. They're more into elephants.
Going to Thailand.
They're into the elephants and stuff like that. But I love Thailand. Once again,
so,
it's
Roxy,
so economical to buy a piece of property there. And the expat community is large over there.
To that point, Roxy, if you are someone like you that is an empty nester, and let me just tell you, Roxanne is a young empty nester, okay? And Roxanne has set herself up so that she could be this young and travel in 4 months here and there.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
Just let the record show you are not one of those empty nester grandmas. Right?
Thank you, love.
Do you recommend people purchase out like for vacation properties? Because you know, one thing I don't do is a timeshare, and you know, I'll go on a little excursion to get a cheap room for a weekend just to let them talk to me, but I won't buy. I have not purchased, and I will not buy a timeshare. Should people think about timeshares or should people buy where they like?
No timeshares. Nope.
No.
Well, let me say this. Let me just say this. I've had one for 20 years.
I've had one too. I
am 43.
Oh, you're a baby.
I'm 43. I've had one for 20 years, and that timeshare has been the bomb. However, the industry for traveling has changed. You can find discounts online, and the timeshares. And I don't like to be in the same place. I want to be all over.
I don't like
exactly.
So
I've had timeshare.
But my timeshare was awesome, and we've been all over. My kids, let me tell you, my kids are telling me where they want to go because they've been so spoiled with the timeshare. They're like, Mom, this year I think we need to take 2 vacations. This is where they do their homework and they tell me where they want to go now, which is a blessing. You know, I want that opportunity. However, right now, timeshares are not. Don't buy a timeshare. I mean, I have one because it's been 20 years. And I bought it for nothing. I actually bought it in foreclosure. So that's the investor in me. My timeshare was not bought like regular at one of those meetings. I went to a meeting. I was like, oh, that sounds great. And I went on the aftermarket and I bought one in foreclosure. And you can do that. But don't do that now. That was 20 years ago. Foreclosure timeshare. I've been hooked up. I've been to Hawaii 15 times. I've been to all these different islands. And it's been great. But today, if you were to go to a timeshare meeting, do not do it.
It's not worth it.
You can get a lot of discounts on, Expedia and all those Travelocities and all these different things. So it's just not worth it.
Lisa says no timeshare zone here, right? I haven't been in a very long time. I used to do it in my heyday. I would go get a timeshare so I could get a nice $60 weekend.
Yeah, but those weekends are even whack. Those $60 weekend they give you, it's not even worth it. Like the rooms are not even great.
Because you
Like it's
spend
not
like
even
4 hours there, 3,
Yeah.
4 hours.
Like they stalk you. They try to convince you. They reduce the price by a third.
Right.
You know, like it's ridiculous, and it's like it's not even worth it.
Lisa said go
Yeah.
for the bundle on Expedia, JetBlue, whatever,
Exactly.
vacations.com. Go for the bundle.
And you don't even have to do a bundle. You just have to. There are many, many sites out there that have discounts.
Mhm.
Secretflying.com. I mean, there's a lot of. I have a list. There's a lot of sites. Trust me, I have a list.
I haven't
A
heard
lot
of
of sites out. I mean, for
secretflying.com.
example,
I haven't either.
For example, secretflying.com. I was able to go to Puerto Rico. Thank God I was able to go somewhere. Puerto Rico in January when they were having all the earthquakes, whatever. Earthquake was in the southern part of the island. I was in San Juan, and I paid $49 one way. Was it one way?
What?
One way. I think it was
Hold on.
$49 one way. Hold on.
Secretflying.com?
$49 one way, ununited, nonstop. Okay.
What is it? Secret
Trust me.
Flying?
And then I went on to VRBO, or you can go to Airbnb and you get yourself a nice condo. So I was there for 4 days. So trust me, there are a lot of deals out there. Do not do timeshares. Investment wise, they're junk. You know, like I said, I've
goes
had
up
one
every year. The maintenance
Yeah,
goes
the
up.
fees
How did
go,
you
and
get
you
rid of
can't get rid of
yours?
the fee. I've had one when my kids were growing up, thank God. And I didn't know, but I guess thank you, Jesus. God was with me. That mine was only for a certain period of time. There are people that have
okay.
theirs for life.
Oh.
You know, they can't get rid of them. But mine was only for, I think, like 10 years, you know. So we had a 2-bedroom, and like she said, we were going all over the place. So when you have young kids, it works, you know, because it's kind of like you renting an apartment, you know, 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment. You know, you save a lot of money. But thank God I was able to get rid of that, and I don't have to deal with it. But you said the fees, the maintenance fees keep going up, you know, and it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are many sites, and I will post those.
What is
I will post those sites for you guys on this call before we finish, so people will see. There are sites that you can go to, and you will see all of these deals. Okay, they're out there. They're out there because in the industry, they have to sell that space. Okay, it's just like with a cruise line. That ship is going out full. You understand what I mean? So let's say 30 days prior to that ship leaving, those empty cabins are going to be sold out in the public at discounted rates. Same thing with a plane. That plane has to go out full. And those rates are going to come down, and you're going to be able to get deals.
Now, I want to say something real quick, Marcia. Yeah. Back to real estate, though. I'm hearing a lot of the Airbnbs are taking a giant hit because of what's happening.
They are.
And a lot of people are selling their properties because, you know, they were not able to afford it. And, you know, they had people coming in renting it. And now, so those houses are going in, like Orlando. If you go to Orlando, all those houses near Disney and Universal, they're being sold. Like, they're trying to get rid of it. A lot of these Airbnbs are being hit big time.
So Lisa, I would say then, to Lisa's point earlier, those markets are buyers' markets.
Yeah, those markets where there's Airbnb, possibly, but it depends. It still depends.
Yeah, it depends. Are you going to visit that property on a regular basis? Or are you just going to have it sitting there just for rental? If that's the case, it's not worth it. You got to look at you got to look at the surroundings, what's going on. Like you said, Disney's taking a hit. Orlando, Kissimmee area, they're taking a hit because
but they're going to come
shut down until next year, I think.
What?
I think they shut down until next year, right?
No
Disney?
way.
I don't know.
Or the fall?
No,
Disney's closed.
Wait a minute. Lisa just wrote that Disney's closed till 2022. That can't be real.
No, she's right. I wasn't sure if it was until the end of the year or they may reopen, you know, but Disney is closed. So you think of all of those people that went into that area just for Disney, you know, and not only that, just based on what's going on. So if you buy an investment property, you have to think also, am I going to visit on a regular basis? I knew someone that had a property in Aruba, that they purchased, for pennies on the dollar, but they never went. So I'm like, what was the purpose? It was just sitting there.
Aruba. That's like our favorite place. Our kids love Aruba. They love the iguana. They love Aruba.
Well, it was the airfare was too much. It was always an issue. But then they had a property manager that was there. I'm like, okay, but you're wasting money. So you got to think about that. If you're going to buy a property that's not in your surrounding area, like within a drive or two, you know what I mean?
Right.
You got to think, how am I recouping that money that I put in? How am I recouping it?
That's why when my husband talks about Maui's so far from New York. Like that trip to go to Maui, to Hawaii, that's like 12 hours.
People in California that are going
to Maui. Day. It's a day trip.
But I'm talking about us. Like trip. He wants to be, because he's thinking that because it's beautiful there, but he's thinking that we're going to be there a lot. And I'm like, dude, that thing is so far. Like, why don't we get something in the Virgin Islands where it's 2-3 hours? Why do we want to spend 12 hours traveling to the West Coast to go to Hawaii where everything is just super expensive?
Yeah.
To get food, everything is like the price is doubled. Like, I'm just like, I'm rejecting Hawaii like straight time. Like,
yeah.
Listen, we have another question.
And also,
wait, Roxy,
real fast. Also, before anyone think of purchasing, think of what's going on in the country, in the area, what is going on. For example, I'm from Guyana, okay? What's going on in Guyana now? Exxon Mobil is what's going on in Guyana right now. We have 17 wells. Everyone is coming into Guyana and investing in Guyana. I have an Airbnb in Guyana, okay? It is always full, no problem. But that's what you need to think about. If you're going into investing, especially someplace that you don't live there, you're not familiar with it, do your research and find out what is going on in that area that makes you want to purchase. Because I'm not going to be there. Yeah, if 12 months out of the year, I'm only going to be there for 2 weeks, where is the rest of the money coming from? You know what I mean? You have to be able to recoup what you put in, plus have an extra on the side.
Right. So Jennifer asked, how do you get rid of a timeshare? She has many people looking to do so. And the only thing I can tell you, Jennifer, from my standpoint, there's a commercial that comes on the radio of a law firm. Because let me tell you, those contracts are ironclad. You cannot get out of a timeshare contract. But apparently, based on a commercial that I hear on the radio, there is a way to do so that this law firm or this guy knows how to do so. So he is helping people do so. And I don't remember it or anything like that, but I hear it on the radio.
I don't remember. It's like timeshare release or something like that. I've heard it. I called one company once and they just seemed so shady. I was like, I'll keep my time. Cause I still travel. I still use it. I still travel. So like, I'm not in a hurry and I still get really great deals.
Yeah.
Like we were supposed to be in St. Martin last week for spring break at a really beautiful resort, 3-bedroom suite, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It was amazing. We were so excited. I literally had to cancel it last minute because I was like, this coronavirus is not going to last. So I was praying that we were going to be, but it didn't happen. So, yeah.
Jennifer said she knows the commercial I'm talking about. Well, honey, sit in the car because I don't listen to the radio here. I listen to it in the car. Sit in the car and try to get
you'll hear it.
The number because it comes on all the time. And when I hear it, I always think to myself, is this guy a scam on top of the timeshare scam? He's now trying to scam people to help them out of their timeshares.
Well, there's one that says money back guarantee, but I don't know. So just listen, call them, ask questions. That's the bottom line is that if you're looking to someone to get rid of your timeshare, buy your property, you need to ask questions and see, what the deal is. Do your due diligence. Don't just expect them to just do everything and you don't do your part. When I work with our clients, kind of getting back to the real estate, I want them to really be a part of the process because I want them to own the process. I want them to feel empowered.
Right.
I want them to want to do it again. One of the things I said founding owner of Legacy Team and Legacy Group Properties. And I use the word legacy because real estate is one of those things where you can build a legacy for your family. And so I own properties. My husband, we own properties. And my kids know that like they never talk about renting. They talk about buying properties because that's the kind of mindset that I want my children to have. I want them to be owners, owners of business, owners of properties, and things like that.
Absolutely.
But it's also important for you to, as realtors, to empower your clients to really understand the process. So whatever they're doing, you want to know how the process works and be involved in it, because this is your legacy. This is your investment, you know, and you really want to be a part of it and understand it. I don't want to hear like, oh, I didn't know because my realtor didn't tell me. Ask questions, be a part of the process, be present so that you really own the entire process. You know what you're doing. And it's important for me because I want you to do it again. You know, you buy your first property, then I want you to go ahead and look to see if you can buy an investment property where you're getting cash flow, positive cash flow every month. And I want you to look at possible investment opportunities. Someone can come to you and say, hey, listen, I can't afford this brownstone in Brooklyn and I need to get rid of it fast. If that's a great opportunity, I want you to be able to identify it and realize that and say, you know what, let me see what I can do. And that's how I try to empower our clients.
And get against investors. You brought up brownstone in Brooklyn, and that brownstone in Brooklyn thing is heavily hit by investors that are undercutting because they have, I don't know what the hell they have.
They say they have all cash, but you can find a hard money lender that can give you cash and that can make the property, get you the purchase quickly. But the interest rates are a little, so if you own the process and you understand how the hard money world works, then if someone says, I need to sell this property in a month or 2 weeks, you know what to do. You know the numbers, you know the math, and you know whether or not it's worth it. So these investors, they say I'm all cash, but a lot of times they're not. A lot of the time they're using people that's giving them money and they're leveraging other relationships and stuff like that. And you need to learn to do the same as an investor. My goal for my clients, a lot of my clients become first-time home buyers, and then they become investors. A lot of my clients, they house hack. So the first property is a multifamily. And then they move down after they do an FHA, multifamily, 2-3 family. Then the next year they buy a 2-family. The next year they buy 1 family. Now they have 3 properties.
So if you didn't hear that, she said house hack. And house hack means is that you buy a multi-family dwelling, you live in it while collecting rent, and it's helping you with your mortgage.
And then after a year with FHA, like if you do the 3.5% down, after 1 year, you're able to buy another property if you're downsizing. So let's say their first property is 4 families. Then your second property after 1 year is a 3-family. Then your third property is a 2-family. And then your last property is a 1-family for you and everyone.
Listen, Madeline, we went over time, but I'm so thankful for this conversation between the 3 of us that I didn't cut it off. But we're going to bring you guys back so we can have another conversation, because I really want to talk about the house hacking and how to teach people to buy homes where they are hacking. Yes. Especially in this upcoming market that we're about to go into. Right. So,
and there's a lot of opportunities, even though it's not quite a buyer's market, there's still going to be opportunities. So all of the people that are looking for like these furloughs and looking, they're not able to pay their mortgage. There's a lot of people filing for unemployment right now, guys. And it's a little scary. And we don't know if these people are going to get their jobs back or not.
Yeah.
So if people are filing, I think today I heard 30 million people filed for unemployment. That's a large number.
It's a lot.
So now if these houses, these mortgages are not being paid, 6 months, a year from now, they're going to be on a foreclosure line. Okay. Yep. So there will be opportunities later on. It's not going to be quick, because you know how it is in New York. New York, it takes a long time. Somebody can be in your house for 2 years and not pay anything. And, you know, they can't, but it'll take a little time. But the key thing is for you to be ready when the opportunity arises. That's key. So if you're not saving money, if you're not making your connections, if you're not finding that realtor, that lender, that attorney that's going to look out for you, building your team, when that opportunity arises, you're going to be looking for these people, and you'll miss out, because someone who already has their team in place will be able to jump on it because they're straight.
Right. So listen, before we close out and before I let you guys just tell the people where they could get in touch with you, Jennifer says that she owns a single property in New Jersey and have been interested in purchasing an investment property, but she's a bit nervous. And she wants to ask, what advice do you have for me? Well, Jen, honey,
I will put my information and we will talk.
I'm gonna have to connect you.
We will talk.
with
We will talk. Let
Roxy.
me wait a minute. Oh my God, wait a minute. I'm gonna type my information here.
I want you
on
both to share your
Instagram and
information.
R Bailey.
I'll let you go first, Roxy. Roxy, you just tell the folks where you can get you. So Jennifer, so you know, Roxanne is a licensed realtor in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, so she can help you exactly in your market. And Yadelin is Jennifer. This is our second week at Friday cocktails and conversations together. Hi, Jen. You were here last week with Yadelin, and she just cracks up all the time. Oh, Natalie, you stayed with us. Woohoo! Thank you so much. This was fantastic. I want to learn more about house hacking as well. Thank you so much, ladies. No, thank you for staying with us this time. Again, Yadelin, please tell us where we can find you.
So I'm on Instagram. I do a lot on Instagram at Yadlin, YADLYND. And on Facebook, it's Yadlin Cherubin. I think it might be Cherubin Ada, licensed realtor. I put it in the comments. So
put it in
definitely
the comments.
Follow me. I usually put a lot of property information, a lot of just basic information for you to know. And if you ever have any questions, reach out to me. My telephone number is on all of my pages, and you can reach out. I'm an open book. So call me, text me. It's always important for you to just reach out and just ask questions.
Absolutely. Ask. There's no such thing as an unimportant, I don't like the S word, but unimportant question. Every question is important and is in information that you need to learn. Joshua is going to DJ Josh is going to play us out with some music. We want to get down on this Friday. We want to Hey! Yadelin, type your website.
Oh yes.
Everything is in. Everything is in there. You guys can reach me. Instagram and Facebook.
DJ Josh.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
My cocktail is done. Good night.
Enjoy your weekend.
You too, guys. Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye, Roxanne.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Her Sweet Spot Experience. Make sure to visit our website, www.hersweetspot.com. That's her, SUITE, spot.com, where you can become a member of our growing community and get great content for your life and business. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We are your strategic partners to grow your business.